you so proud? I figured out how to do the little.
I'm so proud. I'm so proud. I was like, look at her.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Well, thanks for the tip on that.
Yeah, no problem.
Let me see. Sorry.
It's okay.
First of all, this is our very first Where Are They Now Wednesday, and I can't think of anybody better to start with than Lynnette Cole, very first Miss USA from the state of Tennessee. So thanks so much for agreeing to do this.
Of course. Anything for you. Absolutely.
Oh, well, thank you. We get so many calls and DMs and people asking us, like, where are our title holders? What are they doing now? So we kind of thought during this time of quarantine, when we're all kind of just, you know, around our phones a little bit more, this would be a great time to get people more acquainted with what people are doing. And people have sent in some great questions too. So I know. And for me personally, like, how wonderful for us to have a chance to catch up and like, hey, where are you now? What's going on and everything. My only regret is that your sweet parents aren't here with us, because
I know,
you know, I'm kind of obsessed with them.
You know, if it hadn't been for this pandemic, you know, my dad would have driven here. He would have been here for the interview and pushed me out of the way. So thank goodness, you know.
Yes, you would have. Absolutely. And the only thing that better of you and I being together are watching my dad and your dad together. Because the two of them, they're a pretty good team, for sure.
They are a good team. They are.
I know. Well, I love you so much, and I cannot thank you enough for doing this. And it's so fun for me to literally see where you've come in your life. I mean, we have known each other. I've known you since you were 16 years old.
Yeah.
You know, so literally
a very long time ago.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute. And you're, oh my goodness, you just get more and more beautiful with every passing moment. That's for sure. So it's just such a joy for me to see, you know, not only you have been, we're Miss Tennessee Teen USA and then Miss Tennessee USA, and your whole journey and where you are now. And I kind of think that's where we just need to start, like for people that are just getting to know Lynnette Cole. Tell people about your background and how you got into this realm.
Oh my gosh. So yes, for those who I have not met, I'm Lynnette Cole. I was Kim's Teen Tennessee winner in 1996. Yeah, it was 96.
Wasn't I pregnant with Dalton when you were my title holder? I think so too.
I think so. And then in 2000, I won Miss Tennessee, and then I won Miss USA right after that. So, but my journey really for pageantry began in 1993. So just 3 years prior to winning the Tennessee pageant, I entered my very first pageant. And for me, pageants were a way, because I was very shy. I'm still quite shy, actually. But I was very, very shy back then. But it was a way for me. I wanted to go to a private school. And my dad said, if you can pay for half the tuition. And I was like, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this? And then we had our first county pageant. And so I entered that, won that, paid half my year tuition. And then I thought, you know what? I really like pageantry. So then I started searching around, and a makeup artist actually said to me, you know, if you enter this pageant, I'll teach you how to do your hair and makeup. And I was just like, okay. And
was that makeup artist by chance Joel Green?
It is.
That's what I thought.
And he taught me how to do my hair and makeup for pageantry. And then that relationship began. And, you know, when I got to Miss Tennessee Teen USA, I had gotten some confidence from entering some other, you know, smaller pageants, gotten some confidence, figured out like that they are platforms. And so since, you know, 1995, 96, I have always been a champion for adoption. Because I'm adopted. My parents adopted me when I was quite young. I was 10 and a half months into their home as a foster child, and then they adopted me when I was 4 years old. So it's something dear to my heart, and it's something that I'm very proud of, and I love to speak on it all the time. And, you know, pageants gave me that voice. It gave me that confidence. because we were a very unique family. Just to kind of give you guys some background, I grew up in a house of 12 people. So it was my parents, my brother, who is 2 years older than me. He and I were adopted together. And then my parents were also foster parents to additional children. So in the course of my 16-year life growing up at my parents' house, they housed over 127 foster kids. So that began to be an even stronger platform for us, not just me, but my family as a whole. And pageants gave me an opportunity to, share that message, also encourage families to get involved with foster care and adoption.
And think about how many lives that your parents changed, and then because of that, being you having a front row seat to that and experiencing that, and then to be able to share that with literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people as Miss USA, and then competing for Miss Universe as well. I mean, think about how many lives that you've had the opportunity to impact through that. That's amazing.
No, it is quite amazing. And, I still, even though like I kind of, I don't shout from the rooftops that I was Miss USA and things like that. It still gave me such a voice, and I still get requests to come and speak at different fundraisers and things like that, because it really shows that it doesn't matter where you come from. It matters where you're going. And, I grew up in a house that had, 12 kids growing up, and most of them teenagers. So we didn't have a ton of money, extra money and things like that. So I had to be very resourceful in getting all of my pageant gear together. But as a family, we did it. And, it's been an amazing journey for all of us, because it takes a community.
It does. And I remember like it was yesterday, it was an entire family project.
Yes, it was. Yeah, my dad was doing rhinestoning, my mom was making dresses, and so it was just amazing. And then, once we came into, Greenwood Now Productions, once we became part of the family, you gave us such amazing coaches and sponsors that it just made the journey that much easier going into like the national pageant. So thank you for that.
To me. Well, thank you. Well, we've tried to combine a great team of people to really stand in the gap, for whatever need our title holders have, and to encourage and to just help facilitate all the things that you might during the year. So that's a wonderful thing to hear from you. I mean, all these years later, to look back on and to remember how special those relationships are. So thank you for that.
So, they are. Some of my favorite memories are just, the times that we spent together preparing for the pageant, because pageantry can be very silo, because it's really about the person who's going through the experience. And, it's kind of like when you talk to your friends about it and things like that, it's like telling them how great your vacation was. You know what I mean? Like there's no connection for them. So the pageant team really becomes like your extended family, that you can talk about, oh my gosh, my feet are hurting, or like, Kent in his walking classes and him getting on me because I walk like a horse. It was like, you just take all of that in stride, it's like.
Well, that leads me to a question. So several people had sent in some questions, and as you were preparing for Miss Tennessee Teen USA and Miss Tennessee USA, how did you prepare?
Well, I prepared differently for the two pageants. So first, for Miss Tennessee Teen Miss Tennessee Teen USA, because I was still a teenager. I was very young. I mean, I wasn't even driving yet. I was very dependent upon my family for everything. And I was a teenager, so I acted like a teenager. And I didn't quite have all the maturity that a lot of the girls already had at Miss Tennessee Teen USA. But one of the things that I think helped prepare me is that setting up pageantry, my parents and I set it up as like a business, because they wanted me to take ownership of it. So, they would loan me the money, but I always had to pay them back. And all the way up to Miss Tennessee USA as well. Like, it was always that way. They would loan me the money, but I always had to pay them back. So I created little flyers that I would send around and ask, for donations, let them know what I was doing and things like that. And then like $25, $50 here and there. I mean, that paid for some shoes or some makeup or eyelashes, or, you know, just all those little things that add up. You know, my dad just really pushed me to make it more like a business. And then also just continuing to still be a teenager. So, you know, I still saw my friends and did things like that. And then as Miss Tennessee, because I lost at Teen USA, okay, still devastates me to this day. But
me too, by the way.
Like, you know, I prepared so hard at Miss Tennessee Teen USA, and we had like my going away party, and we were so pumped as a group. I mean, you were there, Ken, Sharon Kasserman, like everybody was there, and Petals and Lace, who had sponsored the dress, and like, you know, all these wonderful sponsors, and then not to come home with the crown was like so crushing to me. And
I do remember, though, you were Miss Photogenic, weren't you?
I was Miss
remember
Photogenic.
that.
I was Miss Photogenic. And I think I won one other like certificate or something. But yeah, so I didn't go home empty-handed, but I was so crushed and devastated that I didn't win, and I couldn't understand why, because I prepared so hard and checked all the boxes. And my dad just told me, he's like, Lynnette, it just was not meant to be. It's not your time. Because if you rush these things, it will not be the best experience for you. So
it's wisdom.
Yeah. So at 16, I said to my dad, well, I'm going to be Miss USA 2000. And he said, okay. Like, that, you know, that's like 4 years from now, but okay. And I said, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be Miss USA 2000, not 1999, not 2001. I want to be Miss USA 2000. So he bought me this necklace that I wear on occasion. It's just a little crown. It's gold. And I wore it every single day for 4 years as a reminder of my goal and what I said I was going to do.
I have chills right now.
Yeah. And I literally, like, in times, even now, when I need to truly focus on something in life, or if I just need to have that sense of like my parents there, I always put this necklace on. And I got chills too. But it just reminds me, and when I see it in my jewelry box, that was something that I said out loud, and that's something that I achieved. But I went about Miss Tennessee USA totally in a different mindset, because I was a bit more mature. I had traveled. I'd gone to South Africa for a while on a modeling job. I'd gained some maturity there. I started really, I think, crafting my platform as Miss USA, because I knew that I did not want to go in and be, you know, top 3, top 4, top 5. I wanted there to be no doubt in their minds that this was Miss USA. Like, I wanted them to see that crown on my head. So, or Miss Tennessee USA. So I just began preparing, and I talked to my family about it. They were totally supportive, and, you know, we just quietly started working for it. And because I'm one that I don't really talk about it, like, even to my best friend, and you know my best friend Penny, like my best friend Penny, it's like she used to get so mad at me because she would find out the next day that I won a pageant. Because I never told anybody that I was competing. So, but I did tell her, and I said, this is what I'm going to do. And she was totally on board, was there to support me. And I just took the training from Miss Tennessee Teen USA into Miss Tennessee USA, added in, you know, some of the experiences that I had, and then showed up on that stage ready to win. Well, and I just remember you were a force to reckon with. Oh, yes. Yeah.
You were so powerful in every way.
Thank you. And it is one of my most, I mean, even the preparation for it's so funny, because every October, and even though I don't get to come to the pageants all the time because I'm usually overseas in October, I still, like,
here's a picture.
Right there. Number 9, guys. Number 9.
I know. There you are.
That is one of my all-time favorite pictures, because I just felt so powerful. I felt so confident. I felt beautiful, and I felt prepared.
Confidently beautiful.
Yeah. And one of my favorite quotes, and I even, like, my husband and I, we have a board downstairs, and we'll write quotes on there. And the quote last week was, you know, success is preparation meeting opportunity. that equals success, because you can't prepare once the opportunity is there. You always have to be prepared. And even in today's life, that's how I operate. I always am prepared for whatever might come my way, because there's no time to actually prepare, especially this day and age. So, but yes, I loved being on that stage in Clarksville and Austin P University. And it was one of my best moments in life, I think, right there.
Oh, well, for me too. I just remember when you won, and it was such a special time. And then getting ready for Miss USA.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, talk about, you left nothing undone.
No.
I mean, literally, you had laser focus. That was the only thing that mattered. You were determined. So talk us through that. Like, what did you learn about yourself through that process?
I think I really learned that everything is possible if you put 100% into it. I mean, I didn't enjoy getting up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym, but I did. And I didn't enjoy spending my weekends, running outside and doing the things that the coaches were asking me to do. I didn't always enjoy it, but I knew it was for a short time. And there's another quote that I love, is that there's no discipline is pleasant at the time, but it will reap a lot of rewards. And it's only for that short window, and you only have that one opportunity. And that's when you need every ounce of you to come together. Like, luck is not me. Like, I am not lucky, guys. Not lucky. Trust me. I am not lucky. Outside of like pageants and things, I didn't win anything. Like, I'm just not lucky. Nobody picks my number. It's like, it's just not that way. So it's always been that I've had to work harder. I've had to go that little extra mile. And I remember that as well. My dad, would say to me, like, do you think your first runner up is sitting on the couch right now? And it's like, Dad.
I love your dad.
Like, Dad. But that is how we are in our family. We push each other when the other is weak. And it's like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and only one girl gets it that night. And had, Miss USA happened the night before or the night after, it may not have been my night, but that night, I mean, everything came together and I felt it. It was for me to lose, basically. It was like, Lynnette, you have prepared for this moment. You have thought about this moment for 4 years. Like, you're going to do this. And I had all the coaches there, supporting me. I mean, Kim, we talk all the time, you just have such a way of encouraging us, and but also being very nourishing. What am I trying to say? I'm so used to saying nourishing that now I can't say nourishing.
Nurturing.
But that meant so much as well, and also I think I just had such a strong message in 2000, such a strong message that I wanted everyone to know that, again, it doesn't matter where you come from. It matters where you're going. It absolutely matters where you're going, so yeah. Oh, thank you for memory lane.
Well, I have a quote that I think excitement is common, but endurance is rare.
Yeah.
And so I think it's very easy to get excited in the moment and say, yes, I want to be a title holder. Yes, I want to do this. But the endurance to run the race is really rare. And you did it like a champ. I mean, obviously, I kind of say it's that heart of a champion that really works out all the details, that kind of Michael Jordan kind of moment. And you created that in everything that you do. And you continue to do that in everything that you do. So you're so admirable, Lynnette. You really are.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. But I do have to credit the coaches, though. I really do. Like, everyone's there from helping you. Like, for example, my Miss USA dress, if you remember, was so heavy. Oh, it left like blood indentions in my shoulders, and it was a black velvet that was had hand crystals done all over. It was so heavy.
It was heavy.
literally had to retrain me how to walk to move in that, because it was
Mm-hmm.
one, so heavy, two, it was black, so it absorbed all the light. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he had such an eye for how to make it really look great on
Mm-hmm.
stage. And then, so I mean, that class was just, very valuable for me. Then the interview coaches as well. It's like, interview is a time of that first connection. And if you don't have that first connection, you're going to get, passed over. You have to make that impression, as soon as you sit down, but not in a forceful way. You've got to make it meaningful for the both of you. And so all of that preparation in interview coaching was well worth it, and then, my dad also just keeping all the global, what was happening in the world at that time, at the forefront. We had coffee talk, and it was every Sunday or Saturday morning. And he would sit and we would just talk about the news. We would talk about, things that didn't happen in my world, but I needed to know about. And he would, just explain the facts to me and things like that. So I could, create an opinion and be able to talk about them and not, stumble when I was asked a question or anything like that. So every ounce. Nutrition, I mean, you gave us a nutritionist. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that was the first time I really learned what food could do for my body. And now, I'm all about wellness and, things
Sure.
like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
and nutrition is key, because you're training so hard physically that you need to replenish so much in your nutrition in order that your mind continues to be sharp and that you're focused and you can do this. So yeah, I mean, every single coach was very impressionable on my life. And even to today, I still take a lot of that training into my job today. So yeah,
That's so wonderful to hear.
I mean, I just have to say, everyone out there who is watching, hello. This is like one of my, as you can tell, I love to talk about it, but I rarely have someone who's been there, who knows. And you ladies know how important this time is in your life. And there will never be a time like this. I mean, when you're in your 20s, this is your time to try something new, to work hard, to hustle, and then set yourself up, because that is what life's experiences are about, is to experience it, take something away, and then to apply it to something else.
Well said. I mean,
Yeah.
that's epically said. We had a question from the reigning Miss Mississippi USA, Asia Branch, and
Hey,
she
Asia.
asked you, when did you know that you were truly prepared to take on the job of Miss USA?
When I was, I would say before I even left for Miss USA, I knew I was prepared. I 100%, like going into that 100%, like I visualized it. I visualized myself on stage in my dress. I visualized myself on stage in a swimsuit, and that was nerve-wracking of its own. I visualized myself in every aspect in the clothes that we had prepared for me to go in. And that, like, even today, when I prepare for presentations, big presentations for our company, I still visualize it. I know what I'm going to say. I know what response I'm expecting back, and then how to then, transition to the next phase. So visualization is key. If you can't see it in your mind, then you're not going to be able to walk through it confidently. And I think that is like really key. So, I mean, I'm not a meditator. I wish I was. I try. Sitting still and quiet is not my thing. But I did learn that there is a movement meditation that I am good at. And even though I might be moving, I'm still visualizing everything in my mind. So yeah, before we even left for Miss USA, I knew that I would be Miss USA. Now, they had a choice, obviously. It could have gone a different way. And I will tell you that moment of standing up there after being there for 2 weeks, that moment of standing up there with the top three, that was not who I visualized myself standing between. So that was a real check moment. That was a real check moment, because I was like, wow, maybe they are looking for something different, And then that scream you hear when I won, that was from the toes up. I mean, it was just like, I lost all composure.
Well, the same, I might have to say. I remember just sitting in the audience, and I had a few friends around me, and I think I don't think I was looking at the stage at the moment. Like, I was afraid to. I think I was looking down, and I was, and just listening to, like, who's the first runner up, you know, kind of sound, you know. And so I actually went back and replayed over and over again, watching the win, because I don't think I saw it in the moment, and I may have gone to a different place in my head. And let me share that little picture, by the way, if I can find it. So, oh shoot, did I not load that one?
It's okay.
Dadgummit.
It's
sorry.
Right.
Here I thought it was being so good.
No,
I do have this picture. No, that didn't work out well.
No, but there's so many, like, it's just one of those things that when you're on stage and you just have this sense of calmness, like as if you, this is how you spend every day, you know, like this is just normal. You know,
I remember that. I remember nothing rattled you.
No.
Nothing rattled you. You were like, this is what I was expected to do. This is what I expected to happen. This is what, you know, and so I love that. I remember that focus, and that everything else was at bay, you know, so whatever was happening in Columbia, Tennessee, which was your home, or whatever was happening wherever, that was to be dealt with when you returned home.
Yes.
You know, and so in that moment, you were very much present in every single moment. And I think to be a competitor, a true competitor, it requires that, to be able to live in that moment, and everything else can wait.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think as well, it's like, and once you're there, and this was just my experience, but it's not, I didn't compare myself to anyone. And it was just a sound confidence, I think. It was not like, oh, she has a prettier dress, she's got better hair, she's got this, she's got that, she's thinner than I am, you know, this. No, it was like, no, this is, I showed up as me and gave my 100%. And then, you know, and the judges saw that. So it was great. But again, ladies, it does take a whole community to do it. So don't think you can just do it on your own, because it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of stress. And you need people to help shoulder all of that.
Genethia sent in a question, and she said, how do you make yourself stand out and show that you're different from other people?
I think you first have to search inside you and find out what that special light is. From the time that I was 6 years old until I'm 42 now, I don't mind sharing that, I'm 42. My dad has always told me that there is a specialness inside me, and I need to let people see that. And it's really hard. It's really, really hard, but you first have to go inside and find that. And I think for myself, and it took me a long time to understand that for myself, it is that connection with people. It's not grand scale things, because again, I'm a very private person, but it's that one-on-one time, or that small group time, that it's meaningful to me, and I give my all. And I think that's what, I hope that's when people meet me, that's what they take away.
I know that they do, because I remember, I see Paula Ann has joined in, and I remember Paula Ann as a little girl, literally, you know, just mesmerized by you. But that anytime you saw her, you always took time for her, and that you always, you know, went to her level, and you know, and asked about her life. And that's what really set you apart, Lynnette. That yes, I mean, I remember you getting off the plane as Miss USA for your homecoming, and you look like Diana Ross, you know, I mean, like.
I was wearing my hair a bit differently then,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I remember, like, you were literally on the front page of every paper throughout the state of Tennessee. It was huge. You were the very first Miss USA from the state. It was a very big deal, you know, but that you had such quality time for every single person there. So that is what really makes you exceptional. Well, I stepped ahead a little bit. I want to go back to that. So you become Miss USA. All of your hard work paid off. You win the title. So then what? Then what did it feel like? What did the next few days feel like for you?
It is an experience that I think it's hard to share, because and just to kind of set it up. So as Kim said, I'm from Columbia, Tennessee. It's a very small town. I grew up going to that private school where from 5th grade all the way to graduation, my entire grade was less than 40 people. So everything that I've done had been kind of on a smaller kind of scale. So winning Miss USA, waking up the next day, it was just a whirlwind. I mean, literally a whirlwind. And I just remember being like so exhausted. And then it was, here we go. Here's your itinerary. Your makeup artist is waiting. We have your first shoot with the car downstairs. Please dress, wear your banner, wear your crown. And it was just like, go, go, go. Then we moved to New York because that, again, like I gave my parents a hug at the coronation ball. And I didn't see them for like 2 months or 3 months, almost like time for me to come home for my homecoming. And it was just so, it was just like, it was insane. And I'm one of these people where I plan out everything. Like I'm very detailed even to this day. My day schedule, I have a planner, but then I also write it on a piece of paper. From 8 to 9, I do this. From 9 to 10, I do this. Like I'm just a planner scheduling type of person. And to be just, you know, pushed and shoved and moved around, I had to get used to that. I had to like let down a lot of barriers and just kind of relax and say, okay, they've got my best interest at heart. We're going to do this and we're going to do it great. So, so it was a whirlwind. We moved to New York, or I moved to New York. I met my roommates, Miss Universe, Miss Teen USA, and it was just like, oh my gosh, hi, you know, and then it was, okay, you have your business meeting and then you talk about what your year is going to look like. My year in 2000, we had a new owner. So it was a lot of newness for us. We had a new team as well there. So we were all kind of like, what are we doing? How do we do this? And so we all leaned on each other to get a lot of things done. But it was overwhelming, but it was fantastic in all the right ways.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then going to Miss Universe. I mean, it's no small feat to be in the top 5 at Miss Universe. I mean, continual props for that. I mean, that's,
thank you.
I say to anyone who's been to a pageant, you may have thought you've been to a pageant before.
Yeah.
But when you go to Miss Universe, it's a whole nother level.
It is.
You know, and then I remember we traveled halfway around the world. Miss Universe was in Cyprus.
Yeah.
You competed, which was Nicosia was such a gorgeous location. I remember for the telecast itself, I remember we were there at 3 a.m. I think local time for it to be Eastern time in the United States. Yeah. But what are your memories from that and competing at Miss Universe?
Well, my roommate, Angelique, is still one of my best friends. She was Miss St. Martin, and we still communicate all the time. And she's
I love that.
Yeah, Angelique Maru. But she I mean, she was a feisty one. Like she was like always dragging me to like everything. But when you go to Miss Universe, not everyone speaks English, number one.
Right.
So, and you're put in groups, and you like one group will go off one day and do sponsorship photo shoots and things like that, while the other group is in rehearsal. Then this group will go, you know, so it's a big scheduling. It's kind of like, I would think, like being in a Broadway show, you know. It's like there's a lot of schedules, a lot of things you have to pay attention to. The time difference was hard, I will say that, when I was there, because again, we televised it at 3 a.m. where it could be on the East Coast. But it was a unique experience, because I think that was the first time that I literally got that international experience, because everyone was coming from a different story, a different background. And it was just to hear everyone talk about their pageant experience, getting to Miss Universe, what Miss Universe meant to their country was just, I mean, even today, like, it just blows my mind. Like, you know, when I was speaking to Miss Israel at the time, she, you know, said, oh, after this, I'm going to go into the Army. And it was like, what? You know?
I remember that.
you're going into the Army. Like, what? Are you kidding me? So, and everybody just had so many different backgrounds, reasons why they wanted to win. And it was a fantastic experience. It really was.
Mm.
But I will say this, that as you compete for Miss Tennessee USA, you then compete for Miss USA, you don't have that same time of preparation to get ready for Universe. So you literally need to be ready at Tennessee USA for not only USA, but then also Universe, because your schedule is so tight that there's not time for, you know, sometimes an hour gym or, you know, meeting up with different people to help assist you. I remember like even calling the coaches back in Tennessee to be like, you know, I need someone to kind of talk this through, because there's just no time. There's no time. As Miss USA, you are Miss USA. You have an itinerary that you need to fulfill of obligations. And, you know, we will give you as much gracious period as we can for you to get ready for Universe, but, you know, that's going to be on your time.
Yeah. I remember when Rachel Smith went to Miss Universe, and again, this is fast forward a few years, so she wasn't quite going through the transitional time that you were, that she requested, I need a couple days in Tennessee. I need to reconnect with my people. You know, I need to be in a walk class with Kent. I need to, you know, I need to see my people for a couple of days. And they granted her that graciously. I don't know if they still do that or not, but I remember for her, like, she just needed to compete. She needed to focus on that at that moment. But, you know, I remember too, your laser focus going into Miss Universe as well. And I don't know if you remember this, but again, we're going through transitions with a new owner, and we had new sponsors and all that sort of thing. And suddenly they were wanting Miss USA to wear a certain watch on stage, an evening gown. And so they actually came to me and said, you have to ask her to do this. And you have to, and I'm like, okay. And I just remember you looking at me, okay, if I need to wear a watch and evening gown, I'll wear a watch and evening gown. Like, that's not a big deal, you know? And so I just remember literally nothing impacted you. Nothing ruffled your feathers at all, that you were focused, you were determined, you were great. And you were so gracious as well. You were like, if that's what Miss USA needs to do, that's what I will do today. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you have any favorite memories, like, of the show itself and like the girls that you interacted with?
Gosh, I mean, that was such a long time ago, but I mean, there's a lot of memories, obviously, but, I mean, just,
Robin Stewart asked, somebody sent the question in, do you stay in touch with Laura Dutta?
No, Lara Dutta, no, not necessarily. Like, when it comes to, like, pageant stuff, yes, but not, like, on a everyday type of schedule, I would say. But I do with Miss St. Martin. Like, we just hit it off and have been friends, you know, since then. But it's hard. It's hard because even though we shared an apartment together, we hardly saw each other because our schedules were always in different areas. And her role was to travel internationally. My role was to travel domestically. So
and you traveled all the time.
All the time, because one of the things, especially when I got back from Universe, is I had a meeting with them and I said, I really feel like I need to focus on my platform. Because as Miss USA, I, you know, was a champion for breast cancer awareness, ovarian cancer awareness, but I had not yet been able to bring my adoption and foster care platform to the table. And so, and they said, well, that's fine. It's gonna add on to your itinerary. And I said, that's fine, totally fine. I'm totally fine with that. And so with that, actually the PR, my friend Susie Dicker, still to this day, it was her first PR job, you know, and she went out there and found me places where I could go speak, and schools. She set up the Veterans Hospital for me on Valentine's Day, and like all these things, just so that I could do what I do best, and that is serve people. Because a lot of your appearances are showing up at very like celebrity driven events, and it's just like for the photo, and then you just go into this room and have some hors d'oeuvres and drinks, and then you go home. and that's fine, but I wanted to serve. That's just my DNA, and I wanted to serve. So yeah, so she was, and still to this day, she's one of my best friends, and
Love
she
her.
found
Love
me
her.
what I needed to really make sure that I felt that I had given everything to the Miss USA title. So yeah. So sometimes you have to go in with a plan as well, guys. Like, don't just stop at, I'm going to win the title. Like, see that part through as well. Like, what does that year look like for you? What's going to make you proud of those moments? And I will say, I don't know now, but at the time, I was told at the end of my reign that I had raised more awareness and more money for the platforms than any other title holder. So, and I still, like, that makes me, like, I'm getting a little teary-eyed. That makes me so proud, because I did work really hard for all of that.
I know you did. You went over and beyond, and those were almost like you had to use your days off, if you will, to be able to do that. And I remember that like it was yesterday, and you should be very proud of that, because it goes back to our original, you know, in the beginning of our conversation, how many lives you truly have impacted through your role as Miss Tennessee USA, Miss USA, and competing at Miss Universe. So proud of you, and that you did that, and you created that initiative. For you, it wasn't about like, okay, if I have 2 days off, let me see what fun I can have, or who I can hang with. You were really invested in serving people and bringing awareness and championing a very worthwhile cause. So you should be incredibly proud of that.
Well, and through that is how I met the next chapter of my life after Miss USA, because 4 days after giving up my crown at Miss USA, I started my job on Capitol Hill.
Well, walk us through that. Tell us about that.
So, so I met this woman who became my boss at an event, and we were talking, and I was sharing with her my platform and my passion to raise awareness for foster care and adoption and things like that. And she said, I have a bipartisan committee that I would love for you to be a part of. And I said, you know, I've been a part of committees before, but I'm really looking for something that I can really like take ownership of. And so she's like, okay, well, let's talk. And you know, and some people who say, let's talk, it's like, okay, you know, but not with me. You tell me, let's talk, we're going to talk. So, so we definitely talked. And she said, well, you know, we have this Congressional Coalition on Adoption Institute. It's brand new. I don't have money to pay you, but you could come and be a staffer. And I said, okay, what would that look like? And, you know, what do I need to do? And she, you know, explained what the job would be that I would be working with the bipartisan representatives and senators, but bipartisan, so Democrats and Republicans, and working on making sure, getting any ounce of time with them to share the adoption and foster care policies going up for bills. And so I was like, oh, that's my dream job. So 4 days after giving up my title, I came, right after I gave up my title, I flew back home to Tennessee, hugged my parents, packed up a truck, and drove to Washington, D.C., started my job on Monday.
Wow.
Had no idea. Like, I had gone to Washington, D.C. on a school trip. That was my extent of Washington, D.C. And here I am wearing my high heels and my pink suit. I mean, I looked so out of place. And I quickly learned that high heels are not quite the shoes you wear in Washington, D.C., because you do a lot of walking. But I loved it. And I got paid enough to cover my rent. That was all they could afford. And so I had to get a job in New York, and I would work in New York on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, take the train back, work Mondays through Thursdays for the coalition.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And how long were you there?
I was there for 2 years. So it is so funny. I found my little staff badge. They let me keep it. And I have all this hideous red suit. I don't know what I was thinking. I was being patriotic or something, but I had this hideous red suit on and a turtleneck, and it was just like, it's so bad. But it was like, I mean, one of the best jobs I've ever had. I've never worked harder in my life, but the preparation from, you know, being a title holder, going into pageantry, literally that training paid off, because every single time I sat down with a senator or a representative, I had 5 minutes, 10 minutes to make the impression.
Right.
Whether or not they were going to sign this bill or not. And then you have to get all these signatures, and then you have to wait for the bill to go to the floor, and then hope everyone signs up to really give their vote. But it was just like, it was the most amazing, thrilling experience of my life.
Well,
next
it's
to being
so
Miss
amazing
USA.
that you had that background. So given that 5 minutes or 10 minutes, that you were assertive enough, and that you also knew your talking points, and you knew how to be able to connect those talking points, and also, you know, in a gracious manner, you know, be able to fill that time. So, I mean, but all of your hard work paid off. And again, how many lives changed because of that, and because you were in front of them at that moment.
Yeah, it is quite amazing. I mean, one of the best accomplishments from that is an actual adoption bill does have my name on it.
Really?
At the bottom. But I'm like, my name.
That's amazing. I don't think I knew that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Good for you, Lynnette.
Thanks. Yeah, that was amazing. And then, you know, again, from there, because I had a moonlight in New York, and I met an agent who I met while I was Miss USA, because at the time, Miss USAs weren't allowed to have outside income or jobs. Your job was Miss USA. But I went to them with 6 months left in my contract, and I said, look, I have this opportunity to host a show, and it will not interrupt my duties as Miss USA. It is a studio recording, and that's it. And so, and this young man I was his first client, I think, had gotten me this job. And Miss USA or Miss Universe had said, that's fine. You can do that as long as it does not interrupt your duties. And so I would get up at 4 a.m., be on set at 5, finish by 8, and start my day as Miss USA.
Nobody can ever say you don't work hard, my friend. Nobody outworks you.
Yeah, it was like, and that was so cool, because he was able, as I shared that I wanted to do this job in Washington, D.C., I said, I just need you to find me jobs that can afford me to live and work in Washington, D.C. I said, I don't care what it is, how big, how small, but I can only work Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. And he did. And we worked as a team that way. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So I took that Amtrak train back and forth.
Back and forth. For that sweet little girl from Columbia, Tennessee.
I know, who had never gone anywhere.
So talk us through, where are you now? So where are they now Wednesday? Where are you now?
So fast forward 21, 22 years. So right now, excuse me, I've been married for 15 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And my husband was never a part of the pageant experience. So he gets excited when I do share the stories and things like that, because I rarely ever do. I mean, to have these crowns out and displayed is like, gosh, I don't do this. I don't do this.
Love it.
But
I have to tell you a memory I have too. I remember you saying years ago, I will never marry a man until I meet someone who looks at me the way Lee Greenwood looks at Kim Greenwood.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, how sweet that that's a takeaway for her. That's, of course, everybody looked at you like that.
Oh, no.
But I'm so glad that you found the perfect person.
And he does look at me that way. He does look at me that way. Even on my worst days, he's like, oh. But where am I now? So I'm a wife, which I love being a wife. And I'm also the global education director for Pure. And it's a health and wellness cosmetics range. I've been a part of the Astral Brands family, because that's who owns us, for 15 years total. And I met them as a before and after model when I was in my late 20s, and have loved the brand that much. I love the people. I love their mission. And I love the fact that they're always looking for ways to give back and serve as well. And that was like one of my big things, because at the time I was, you know, a freelance model. I was a freelance this, freelance that. And when they asked me to join the team, I said, I will join the team, but I need to, you know, be at the ground and work my way up. So I started off as an account executive, and traveled the world with them at first. And I had 120 doors, where I just got, again, to share the message of Pure and, you know, their mission, their ethos as well. And then I got into the education department because we didn't have one. So they asked if I would create an education department, and I was like, okay. And then I went home and was like, what does that mean? So I had to figure out, I had to figure all that out. So now I'm the head of the education department. I work with product development. I work with the marketing team, and I help create the story behind each of our product launches. I train teams on how to talk about our products, because I don't think we sell, we just share the story of what the products can do for the skin, in terms of the good for your skin ingredients, and the fact that we don't formulate with talcs, oils, fragrance fillers, chemical dyes. We're 100% cruelty-free, paraben-free company. And, you know, the brand's been that way since 2002, but it's really taking on a whole new spin now. And then I also lead up the television side of it. So I do the television shopping side. So I'll appear on HSN, and the international shopping channels as well. And then as a brand ambassador, and this is where my Miss Tennessee USA training comes in, is that they will send me to open up countries or accounts and things like that. So I'm like the first face of the brand. I have anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes in a meeting to get people to really buy into our brand. And that's been one of the greatest gifts of you know, being a part of this family, was that if I hadn't had the training as a title holder, then I wouldn't have been able to do this job. I would not have had the confidence. I wouldn't have had that backbone to go in and say, you know, this is why you need to believe in me and believe in this brand.
That's powerful.
So
and
yeah, it's been
a lot of times if I'm trying to keep up with you, I see that you're in Australia, or you're in Germany, or you're in South Africa, you know, so typically you're all over the globe.
I am. So before the pandemic, I would travel anywhere, but like I was home usually about 7 to 10 days a month. And that's been that way since my husband and I have been married. So it's like all we know, basically.
Sure.
So, but now with the pandemic, it's like we've been even busier because of now technology has allowed us to be accessible from anywhere and at any time. So I'm still going to those countries.
Right.
I'm just doing it from the comfort of my home.
You're just zooming there.
Exactly.
Well, and I know even when we were scheduling this, you were busy up until 15 minutes ago. You were literally all day long on being featured online in one way or the other.
Yes. So I do appreciate you having me, because this has just been a great catch up.
Well, it has been a great catch up, and I appreciate you taking the time to do this. Well, back to your product line, because if we want to check it out, we can just follow you here, and then
well, you can, yes, you can follow me and ask me any of your questions. I just started actually a private Facebook group as well. It's called Beauty Uncomplicated with Lynnette.
Very cool.
And, you know, that way I can still have face-to-face time with the people that I see all the time, that have questions about how to enhance their own natural beauty. But yes, you can follow the brand. It's Pure Cosmetics, at Pure Cosmetics on Instagram. And if I may, I didn't ask this before, but if you guys do want to check it out at purecosmetics.com, I will give you my friends and family discount. All you have to do is type in my name, Lynnette, and you'll receive 25% off. So
that's so generous.
Yeah, no problem. My pleasure.
How fun is that?
But the caveat, Kim, is you have to spell my name correctly, right? Nobody spells my name correctly.
I'll help everybody out.
Okay.
I'll send them the message.
That is like I always say, you have to make sure you know how to spell my name, though, because You're going
I'll
to get
help
to the,
everybody out.
yeah,
Well, do you have a
exactly.
favorite? If you're going to start with one or two products, do you have a couple of faves?
Absolutely. So my favorite product, let me reach over. I'm in my office, by the way. Normally this is all makeup behind me.
I love it.
But I took it down. But my favorite product, of course, is the 4-in-1 pressed mineral powder. That's my all-time go-to. That's me.
Exactly.
Product. That's my all-time favorite product. And then our Love Your Selfie foundation is a liquid foundation, if you love that. What we do best at Pure is complexion. You know, I love that we mimic the look of natural skin, so it doesn't look like makeup. So if anyone out there is competing anytime soon, or if you want something for your everyday life, please check us out. Use my discount, you know, because it is like, it's the best makeup you can put on the skin. And it's not going to cause breakouts and things like that. Where when I was competing in pageants, I was using makeup that I would have good skin days, I'd have bad skin days. So,
right.
You know, and your skin is really important when you sit down and have that face-to-face time with judges, and then also sponsors later. And then when you're in appearances and things like that as well.
I happened to be following you on a live yesterday, and you were talking about,
oh yeah,
how the skin is the biggest
organ. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So you better take care of it.
Yeah, we're going to have it for a long time.
Yeah.
And the fact that, because again, we're a non-toxic brand, the fact that your skin absorbs 60% of the ingredients that the products have within 26 seconds of application. So that's why you can tell if you're going to be allergic to something, or if it's going to irritate your skin and things like that. And so that's why I love Pure. It's like, I've never had better skin, I can tell you that. It's like, it's all Pure, trust me.
Well, you have gorgeous skin, that's for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I want to wrap with a couple more questions, if you don't mind, Lynnette. A couple people, Paramita Mitra, who was Miss Mississippi USA a few years ago, asked this question. How has your pageant experience helped you in your career today? I think you kind of visited that a moment ago.
Yeah, but I do want to touch back on that, only because I would say 100%, because though being Miss Tennessee, Teen USA, Miss Tennessee USA, I got amazing scholarships. Like, I mean, Kim, your scholarships are just amazing that you give throughout the program. But I made the decision not to go to college. And that was because of my job on Capitol Hill. It was either like start school or take this job. And my dad said, school will always be there, but this opportunity may not. So, and here I am, 42 years old, and still haven't gone to college, but I don't feel like I missed anything that would prepare me for any job that I would walk into. You know, and I've done several jobs. You know, I've hosted several shows without any training. And that always blew my mind as well. But it's the confidence that it gives you. And pageants also make you so disciplined that you are going to do the homework. You are going to do that research. You know, so when I was interviewing people, I did thorough research. And if I didn't know something, I would look it up and find out, or I'd ask a peer. And, you know, it was such a great training for anybody, whether you win or lose. The training is, you can't get it anywhere. Like, no school can teach you that.
I've always said that as the mother of boys, that I don't think there's anything in the life of a young man that prepares them for life like competing in a pageant does for young women.
No.
You know, I mean,
it's so true.
Such a fast track to everything that you want to do, because if you use that time wisely, if you really do push yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually to be your best, then you're so far ahead of everybody else that's in the game of life. You know, so that's what I always believe is the true advantage of, and why this is important and why it's still meaningful, is that it really is a fast track.
It is a fast track. And again, like every pageant actually took me to that next level. So,
and I think we're winding down, Lynnette. I apologize. We're getting like this 9-second message that we're about to like be kicked off. I'm not sure how that works. I know.
I've never had that.
Me either. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.